The Seattle Seahawks have scored an important victory in a division game against the San Francisco 49ers, a rival that had beaten them 6 consecutive times. But on Sunday, it was the Seattle Seahawks that came into the game with a great attitude and excellent preparation. Welcome to Josh's Football Breakdowns, where we don't tell you what you're seeing, we let the film tell us what we're seeing. And we saw a lot of really interesting things happen in this game, and I want to make sure I have time to show you all of them. So this entire video will be presented to you ad-free after this short commercial break. Welcome back. This is a game that was notable for the absence of several players. For Seattle, their starting center, Connor Williams, shocked the team with a surprise retirement on Friday, just 2 days before the game. And for the 49ers, George Kittle was surprisingly unable to go at the start of the game due to a hamstring. And the 49ers would notice his absence on the first play of the game. The 49ers would line up with Eric Cashapp on the first snap, and just watch as he has a little bit of a hard time laying down this block. The 49ers would end up punting to Seattle, who has moved the ball to midfield and is facing a 3rd down and 3. Needing only to get to the 45-yard line, there is the very real threat that the Seahawks could run the ball with Zach Charbonnet. So the 49ers drop a safety down into the box, leaving just one safety back deep. This leaves JSN one-on-one with Renardo Green. And this is the point in the play where ordinarily I say Green has to give JSN a lot of extra space because he has no safety help to that side. But Green plays this pretty tight. Nevertheless, when JSN is able to cut to the inside, Green finds himself trailing. And I drew a nice smooth line here. In reality, the only one who knows when he's going to the inside is Jackson Smith-Njigba, and it's a much more sudden cut, which you guys will see. And turn your attention to the pocket. Geno Smith is already winding up to throw this football before JSN has even made his break. It's a big conversion on 3rd down early in this game for Seattle. And the Seattle Seahawks came into this game with a plan to deal with the San Francisco pass rush and Nick Bosa. They chip him with rookie tight end A.J. Barner, who then goes out for a pass route. And rather than Nick Bosa trying to fight through the chip and the block of the right tackle, the 49ers have Malik Collins rush to that side and bring Nick Bosa around to the inside. But the Seahawks are able to pick it up well enough to give Geno time to throw this football. 2 plays later, however, Seattle would be facing another 3rd down, and this time it's a 3rd down and 9. Needing to get the ball all the way down to the 19-yard line, running the football is no longer an option, and San Francisco puts 2 safeties back deep. Nobody is open, and the pass rush gets home to Geno Smith. And what we have just seen is a textbook example of why it's a little bit easier for offenses to pick up 3rd and manageable and a little bit easier for defenses to stop them on 3rd and long. And this time Barner is on the other side of the formation where he chips Leonard Floyd and again heads out for a pass. And Floyd deals with it in the same way, going to the inside. And Zach Charbonnet is keeping an eye on this. Charbonnet is one of the best pass-protecting running backs in the league, but by keeping an eye on Floyd, he doesn't quite give enough attention to Nick Bosa, and before you know it, both of them are in the backfield. So the Seahawks are forced to settle for a Jason Myers field goal, and he would knock it through, taking the lead 3-0, and you would think that the Seahawks might be a little bit down on themselves about a missed opportunity to go up by a touchdown on San Francisco early in an important game. No, they came to the sideline excited about the successful opening drive that resulted in points. Like I said, they had a great attitude about this game, And just the difference in the body language between the two teams was apparent right away. Nevertheless, the 49ers would respond. They send Christian McCaffrey out wide right at the snap, and the linebackers see this. There's no play action here, so they immediately backpedal, and they get great depth, taking away some of these longer developing routes that the 49ers have called. Now, interestingly here, I do think that Debo might come open late, but Brock sees a big lane open up and he can't resist. And I'm not sure whether I'm viewing this as a negative on Brock for not hanging in that pocket just a little bit longer, or whether I'm just simply leaning towards he saw an opportunity and took it simply because it was there and it was only second down. It wasn't necessarily a bad choice. He had two good options available to him and he took one. Now he does take a big shot at the end of this play trying to get the first down, which he does, so the drive continues, but that's the thing, when you start running the football, you're going to start taking some of these hits. On the next play, the 49ers call another deep route, this time for Juwan Jennings. But the defense reacts differently to this. First of all, they start off with a 5-man rush. Why? Well, with a fresh set of downs, the 49ers can now afford to run the football, and here we see the play action fake. And this slows up the linebackers just a little bit. It doesn't suck them in, it only delays their backpedal a little. Why doesn't it suck them in? Well, look at that 49er offensive line. High hats. The Seahawks realize right away that they're pass protecting. Nevertheless, Jennings has plenty of space and Brock Purdy gets him the football. And it's a 22-yard gain for the 49ers, and what you have just seen would be the 49ers' longest play of the entire game. But the drive would continue, and they would pick up some nice yardage on the ground with Jordan Mason. Now, I do have to say this. These two runs by Jordan Mason that you're looking at would be the only 2 carries Jordan Mason would get for the entire game. And I tend to think that was a little bit of a mistake. The Seahawks played a great brand of physical defense throughout the entire game, and Christian McCaffrey never really got going in this game. Jordan Mason might have been a better matchup against that defense. I'm surprised he didn't at least get a few more carries. With time winding down in the first quarter, the 49ers are threatening, and Seattle responds to this by calling a huge, all-out 7-man blitz. But as the play develops, we see they're actually going to drop 3 of their defensive linemen back into pass coverage. This is just simulated pressure. And the pressure is successful. 2 of the rushers on the left side are able to get through. And on the right side, we see Julian Love in sticky man coverage against Christian McCaffrey. And ironically, this is going to open up a lane for Brock Purdy. Now, whether Brock Purdy realized that right away, or whether he sensed the pressure behind him, or both, he decides to take the lane. And it's going to be a foot race to the pylon against Jarran Reed. And Reed is a great defensive tackle, and he has a head start, but here we see Brock Purdy's athleticism on display. Touchdown 49ers, and San Francisco takes the lead. Now, one thing you guys should know about this channel is you can always count on me to be honest with you. We all know that Seattle walked into Levi Stadium and walked right out of there with a win. They earned this victory, so I have no reason whatsoever to dog them. But again, if I'm going to be honest with you and give you the full picture of what we're talking about here, we should talk about some of the things that have been going on with Seattle, because there's been this strange phenomena with these bad snaps that have just sort of been plaguing the team week after week. You know, each one's a little different. One goes over the quarterback's head, one goes through his hands. Well, remember, the center for Seattle, Connor Williams, retired before this game, and darned if the same thing doesn't happen again. Watch this. Now from this angle, I really don't put this on the center as a bad snap. It probably just is a little bit different than what Geno is used to and results in this yet another one of these bizarre kinds of plays. And again, on this channel, we tell the story of what happened in the game. So after this, the Seattle Seahawks would punt back to the San Francisco 49ers, and you deserve to know why. So the 49ers do have the ball, and on 2nd and 5, they have a plan to pick up the first down. When Kobe Bryant drops down to pick up Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey heads to the outside, and the idea is to get Devin Witherspoon to either cause a collision with Bryant or to try to go around him, giving McCaffrey time to come back to the inside. But Witherspoon does not take the bait, and he's being nice and physical with McCaffrey. Is this legal? Yeah, let's take a look. Here's the original line of scrimmage, and if we go out 5 yards, you can see that Witherspoon is within that 5-yard zone where you are allowed to be physical with your opponent as long as you're not grabbing and holding on, which he's not doing here. He is well prepared. He knew this route was coming and was ready for it. He has total inside leverage here, and look at the pocket that Brock Purdy has. He has good protection. It's squeezing on him a little bit, but he's got plenty of time. There's no reason for him to throw this football here right now, but Brock Purdy tries to force it. A bad decision. Tipped, and the pass is intercepted by the Seattle Seahawks. Jonathan Hankins with the pick. What a great play by Witherspoon. Witherspoon had a great game. He was all over the tape, and this pays immediate dividends as the Seahawks tack on another field goal, making the score 7-6. Let's move ahead to the third quarter. Okay, the Seahawks have the ball, but they're facing a 3rd down and 8. Geno's back foot hits, and he takes a long look at Tyler Lockett, but he's being flanked by Fred Warner and Devondre Campbell. He sticks with him, but eventually comes over to DK Metcalf, but the pass rush almost immediately forces Geno back to the inside. And here, when the 49ers appear to have him dead to rights, we see a great example of Geno's escapability. And at the last second, he spots JSN. Now, we see the hat on the sideline. Jackson Smith-Njigba had stepped out of bounds earlier in the route, so this pass would not have counted even if it was completed. Here, JSN works back to the quarterback, something you ordinarily want to do when you see your quarterback scrambling. It makes it an easier throw for them and can help them get out of trouble. Here, him and Geno Smith just aren't quite on the same page. Geno is either expecting him to stay put or expecting him to make a move on the defender and move back to that spot. And that's where he puts the football. And the pass ends up being intercepted. Isaac Yiadom accepts the gift. So the 49ers appear to be set up in good shape here, but then we would see a series of negative plays. Here, Purdy starts out reading the right and then the middle part of the field, but all these receivers are covered, and Trent Williams takes a big L, getting smoked by Leonard Williams, so he reaches out and holds him, allowing Brock Purdy to escape, but the official spots it, and we see the flag come out for holding. To make matters worse, Kyle Juszczyk, blocking valiantly for Brock Purdy, ends up taking a knee right to the side of the head, and he is out. And if there's any Dragon Ball fans out there, you know how bad this is. Now, miraculously, somehow, Juszczyk would get up, walk off the field under his own power, go into the medical tent with the independent neurologist, and be cleared to return, and he would return to the game. But now it's first down and 20, and the 49ers here would get flagged for an illegal formation. So what does that mean? Well, there's a rule in football that you have to have 7 men on the line of scrimmage. All right, here's the line of scrimmage, and if we take a look here, we can see there's only 6 men on the line. All right, whose mistake is this? Who's supposed to be on the line? There's another rule that says the 2 outside men on the line of scrimmage must be eligible receivers. So on the one side, we see Deebo Samuel. We know he's an eligible receiver. He's on the line of scrimmage. He's doing it right. But on the other end, we see Jauan Jennings is off the line of scrimmage. He's the one who made the mistake on the play. He's the outside man. He needs to be up on the line, putting the 7 men on the line of scrimmage, and we see the flag come out, meaning that this play never happened. So now the 49ers are backed way up, facing a ridiculous first down and 25. They have to get all the way down to the 6. I can't even show you the line because it's off the screen. So for the sake of saving a little time here, I'm sure you can understand why it would be difficult, if not near impossible, to pick up this first down. And the 49ers would be forced to settle for a Jake Moody field goal attempt, which he made. So they do extend their lead, going up 10-6. Points are obviously precious in this defensive game, so Seattle would like to get their offense going. They chip Nick Bosa again with the tight end, Pharaoh Brown, who goes out for a pass. Bosa shakes like he's going to the inside, like we've been seeing for most of this game, and the tackle sets up in that direction. Well, Bosa surprises him pretty badly with a move back to the outside, and he gets home to Geno for the sack, a big play, but Bosa gets up hurt. Bosa is hurt, and this would be significant. Bosa is hurt, and he would leave the game, and the effects are immediate. San Francisco would struggle to set up their defensive line. They have to run a player on late here. Watch this. And then we would see another key play. Geno Smith spots DK Metcalf one-on-one against Isaac Yiadom. Yiadom appears to be in terrific position, but he misjudges the flight of the ball, and DK makes the catch. I don't want to sell the Seahawks short here. Isaac Yiadom didn't make the play, and DK Metcalf did. So again, in a game where points are precious, Seattle has a real opportunity now, and they call the wide receiver screen for Ken Walker. I guess you call it the bubble running back screen, whatever you want. We see the wide receivers blocking downfield for Ken Walker, but Fred Warner blows up the play. But at the last second, we see JSN turn to the inside because this is a fake. This pass is for him. But do the Seahawks have an illegal man downfield? You have to be within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage, and no, he's right within that 1 yard. He is legal. This is not only a beautifully designed play, it's perfectly executed, well-timed, and it springs JSN for a big gain. Ken Walker would punch it in from the 1 yard line. Touchdown Seahawks. Seattle takes the lead. And when the 49ers get the ball back, the Seahawks continue playing physical man coverage against them. Jauan Jennings is the 49ers' best receiver against man coverage, and here he wins to the inside. But as we move into the fourth quarter, the 49ers would again be facing a 3rd and long. And again, we see physical coverage against Jauan Jennings down the field. But the defender's back is turned, and we can already see Brock Purdy winding up to throw this football. And that was beautiful. If you love football, that was beautiful. And on this play, it was the Seattle defensive line that got creative on their pass rush, sending their outside men to the inside. And on a day that the San Francisco offensive line really struggled, here they block it up nicely. But yet another 3rd and long looms for the 49ers. The media calls him 3rd and Jauan. The players call him Chains because he always moves the chains on 3rd down, and we're looking at him again on this one, and he's completely got the defensive back turned around. Jennings looks like he's heading for the end zone, and Josh Jobe has to be turned around. He cannot get beat deep because he does not have safety help to that side. Why doesn't he have safety help? The Seahawks sent a blitz, and if we turn our attention back to Jauan Jennings, this allows him, once he gets the defender turned around, to come back to the football. But this time the Seahawks are going to stop him from picking up the 1st down. They've got him dead to rights, 4 tacklers on him. He's never going to get to that line to gain. But Jennings fights through the wave of tacklers and he picks up the 1st down. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? And we've seen this before. Last year, in Seattle on Thanksgiving, almost a year ago to the day, he fought through this scrum to pick up a 1st down early in that ball game. Amazing how things repeat themselves. History repeats itself in the NFL like this. Now we do have to give some credit to Seattle here because this play almost worked defensively. The blitz almost succeeded. They completely overload the right side of the 49er offensive line, and it almost gets home to Brock Purdy. But here Purdy and Jennings simply combine for an amazing play. Sometimes you just have to tip your cap to the opponent. And to cap off the drive, the 49ers go for a gutsy play call as Brock Purdy has completely turned his back on Jarran Reed, faking the handoff to Christian McCaffrey. Reed could kill Brock Purdy right now, and then the rest of the league would never have to deal with him again, but Reed would feel pretty guilty about that if Christian McCaffrey were to blow by him for a touchdown. So he turns his attention to Christian McCaffrey. And on the left side, who else? Who else is it? Jauan Jennings pretending to block and then going out for a pass. Jauan Jennings, what a drive! Ten catches on the day for Jauan Jennings, and San Francisco has reclaimed the lead, 17-13. With time winding down in the fourth quarter, things would start to tighten up. Was JSN out of bounds here? We get a great look. It's extremely close, but one thing I do know is that the official is right there and had an excellent view of the play, and he ruled it a completion. San Francisco would challenge this. The officials felt like they did not have enough evidence to overturn the call, so San Francisco was charged a timeout. But the play does bring up a 3rd and 1, and here's the line to gain. It's actually 3rd and quite a long one, 3rd and 1.5 at least. Geno Smith dives over the line, and here we get a great look. We can see him cradling the ball, and here's the line to gain, and yes, he is just barely short. Okay, so 4th and inches. Here we go. And it's number 92, Jordan Elliott, and number 94, Yetur Gross-Matos, who is impressed with the 49ers. His third year out of Penn State, played 2 years in Carolina, and really seems to be coming into his own this year. They get a great push on this play, and then it's D. Winters who comes in and stuffs the play for no gain. The 49ers celebrate, they run off the field, and they have a golden opportunity now inside 4 minutes to take time off the clock, and even a field goal here would be devastating, and things are looking bleak for Seattle. And who else's hands would you want the ball in but Christian McCaffrey? He picks up 11 on the first play. Trent Williams tosses his man aside like a rag doll. Eric Schaubert comes over to pick up the end, and this time he sticks the block. And Jake Brendel and Colton McKivitz pick up the tackles, and this allows the 49ers rookie phenom Dominic Pooney, their tremendous guard, to get downfield to the linebacker level, and you can see this is the hole Christian McCaffrey wants to run through. But those aren't just any defensive tackles for the Seahawks. That's Jonathan Hankins and Byron Murphy, and both get off their blocks, forcing Christian McCaffrey to cut. But on the next play, the defensive line for the Seahawks again flexes their muscle a little bit, bringing down McCaffrey for a loss. And this is just great team defense, great pursuit from the backside, and check out Trent Williams, the 49ers' best offensive lineman, but he's working against Leonard Williams, and Williams fights like crazy to deny Christian McCaffrey the cutback. McCaffrey has to continue to the edge, and he is outflanked by Kobe Bryant. So now it's 2nd down and 11, and this brings up an interesting strategy moment in the game. This is normally a passing down. You wouldn't normally run on 2nd and long like this, but the 49ers do threaten the run. They bring in Kyle Juszczyk. There he is again, just amazing that he comes back into the game. They fake the handoff to Christian McCaffrey to get a one-on-one shot to Deebo Samuel. Now Brock Purdy airmails this football, but the defender was all over it either way. But I think the 49ers might have been better off running the football here. I know it's counterintuitive, but the important thing here is the time. The time is the factor, as well as the timeouts remaining for the Seahawks. And if you get a few yards on the run, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, you make your 3rd down more manageable. So with one slightly inaccurate play call and a missed throw, the 49ers have dug themselves into a hole now. 3rd down and 11, a solid 3 minutes to go, and 2 timeouts remaining for the Seahawks. San Francisco looks for Jauan Jennings, of course, and it's the only place to go with the football, with the pocket collapsing around Brock Purdy. It looks like Trent Williams is taking an L here. He's actually not, and I'll show you why from the other angle. They do complete the pass inbound, so the clock runs, so that's important. At least they did that. Okay, and here's why I say this is not Trent Williams' fault. Seattle sends an overload blitz to the left, so they send 4 pass rushers against 3 pass blockers. Now, if you can't block everybody, and you have to allow a free rusher, the person you want to allow is the person the furthest away from the quarterback. Now, as it just so happens, 2 of these defensive linemen drop back in the pass coverage. Of course, the 49ers don't know that, so acting on the information they had, they did the right thing. And Brock Purdy makes the right read and gets rid of the football. Now, Jauan Jennings, the play is over here where the forward progress is stopped, so the fact that he then goes backwards and stepped out of bounds is meaningless. The play had already ended, and that's why the clock runs. Seattle would use their 2nd timeout, so the clock is stopped, but now the 49ers are facing a 4th down, and the ball is on the 42, so from there that would make it a 59-yard Jake Moody field goal, and I think the 49ers make the right decision here to punt the football because, if you miss the field goal, the Seahawks take over with outstanding field position, but if you pin them back deep, it's a much tougher road ahead for them. If you pin them back deep. And take a look at this. There's no returner for the Seahawks. Laviska Shenault was injured, so they just line up without a returner here. This is as easy as it gets. Now, I know the 49ers have a backup punter, right? Mitch Wishnowsky was injured, so they signed Pat O'Donnell. And, I get it, but this is not a difficult punt. In fact, this is as easy as it gets. We're not talking coffin corner or anything like that. Just kick it right down the middle. There's no returner. Just stick this thing right at the 10-yard line and let your team run down there and down the punt. He does not. The ball bounces into the end zone. This is a bad punt and a good break for the Seahawks. Okay, as we move forward here on Josh's punt breakdowns, the Seahawks are trying to move the ball with 2 minutes 38 seconds left, and we get to another interesting situation here. Does DK Metcalf have that left foot down in bounds? From this angle, it sure looks like he does. And again, the official, Johnny on the spot, has a great view of it. The 49ers again would challenge this play, and again, the challenge would not be successful, and San Francisco would be charged with a timeout, their second timeout. Inside the 2-minute warning now, and remember the Seahawks only have that one timeout left. The name of the game for Seattle here is get the football down the field by any means possible. Geno's athletic talents as a runner have to be respected, so there's a bit of a rule of thumb here. If you're a pass rusher on the edge, don't go past him. Squeeze that pocket instead, but here Leonard Floyd does go past him, giving Geno Smith the lane, and then he finds JSN late for a big play. Less than a minute to go. Running clock. Seattle takes no chances here, chipping Leonard Floyd with Ken Walker, and there's a double team waiting for him. Now, this isn't an all-out pass rush. He's being more careful here. He senses Geno wants to bounce to the outside. He tries to beat him to the edge, and then Geno just makes him look silly in the open field. And it's hard for me to criticize the 49ers here. What can they do? They could send a blitz, but then Geno might beat them with his arm instead of his legs, and we'll take a look at that. Seattle calls their final timeout, stopping the clock with 39 seconds left. And this time San Francisco does send the blitz, but Geno finds the open man. Now the 49ers have fewer defenders back deep to defend the pass, and Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to be open. And this is what I mean when I say it's hard for me to criticize the 49ers. What makes the 49ers defense so great, and what has made them so great for years, is their ability to generate that rush with just 4 pass rushers. So they get the benefit of a blitz without having to do it. They get the pressure with just 4, and they can stick everybody back deep. That's what makes it so hard. Now the 49ers are struggling with their pass rush, especially without Nick Bosa in the game, and really no matter which choice they make, Seattle is going to be able to exploit it. All right, JSN goes inbound, so the clock is going to run here, and the Seahawks don't spike the football. This may have surprised San Francisco a little bit. They go back to the 4-man rush, which kind of makes sense. They stick everybody back in the end zone. The pass rushers have let Geno escape the pocket for the final time, and with these defenders locked up in man coverage, they may not even be aware that Geno is scrambling here. The only man left with a shot to stop him is Devondre Campbell, but he's going to have to change directions. And as we've said for years on this channel, if you have to change directions, you're already beaten. Touchdown Seahawks. Seattle wins the game appropriately with just 12 seconds left on the clock. Well, there it is. 20-17 would be your final score. What a game for the Seattle Seahawks. I mentioned they came into this game with a great attitude. They were prepared. The 49ers seemed to be asleep at the wheel. I believe Guy Haberman said they looked like they were stumbling around in the dark. But it is a huge division win for the Seattle Seahawks. Now just one game out of first place. And guess what? they play the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday in Seattle. If they win that game, they'll be tied with Arizona with a tiebreaker on the Cardinals. That's right. Seattle could be in first place in the division as early as Sunday. Can you believe this division is absolutely wild this year? A little bit of a caveat in that the Rams have a tiebreaker over the Seahawks, so they would also have to lose on Sunday. But with the Philadelphia Eagles coming to town to play the Rams, that's a legitimate possibility. For San Francisco, the road is a little bit tougher, with a road trip out to Green Bay and then back-to-back road games, following that up with a trip out to Buffalo. Oh my goodness. It's going to be really tough for any of these NFC West teams to win a wild card berth this year, with the Eagles and the Commanders vying for one of those spots, and the Lions, Packers, and Vikings vying for the other two spots in the NFC. There's only 3 wild card spots. So if you want to make the playoffs in the NFC West, you got to win the division. Right now, Arizona is, without question, in the driver's seat, but Seattle has that opportunity to move into first as early as Sunday. Wow. Well, if you're new here and you like what you see, please subscribe. We've gained a lot of new subscribers this year. We have a great community. I would love to have you aboard. In fact, leave me a comment. I read every comment. And I want to take a minute out of my time here to thank those of you who have gone the extra mile to help support this channel. Your support has been invaluable, humbling, honoring. It truly means a lot to me. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And an extra special thanks to our Patreon supporters. Guys, you are an essential part of this channel. I could not do this without you. Thank you so much. All right, 3 great NFC West games this weekend. Eagles at the Rams with implications. Cardinals at the Seahawks with implications, and the 49ers go out to Green Bay. What an interesting game that is going to be. The San Francisco's back is definitely up against the wall here. I don't know what's going to happen in any of those 3 games, but you know we're going to be here to break down that film, and I will see you guys then.